Hi, I'm with Mo Perkins, and I just saw your movie last night.
You came out last night.
I came out last night. It was
Thank
great.
you.
I really enjoyed it a lot.
Thank you.
How would you describe the journey that has brought you to this point?
Fast and kind of heady. I don't know. It was hard work, but good work. Rewarding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was written by your husband.
It was. Yes.
Okay, so is it straightforward like that? He wrote it, passed the script out to you, directed, or was there a lot of collaboration involved?
You mean after he wrote the script, did he?
Mm-hmm. Or was
want
there
to have say in how I directed it?
No. Do you guys collaborate? Did you collaborate with the writing process, or does he kind of go off and write?
No, he goes off and writes, and that's his super skill. So I don't even want to step in his way. We came together, decided that we wanted to work together, and kind of picked the subject matter and picked out some of the details of things that we wanted the story to include. Like I wanted to try something that would take place all in one night, and I've dealt with marriage before as a subject matter, and we wanted to have that be part of it. And then he took it and ran with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is this I guess this is your second film, or?
This is my second film. He's written several films that have been directed by other people, and then also co-wrote and co-directed a film called Special that was at Sundance and starred Michael Rappaport. He's done stuff, I've done stuff, but we'd never done anything together. Yeah.
Was that difficult, or was there a lot of tension there?
We're not married anymore. No, I'm just kidding. No, it was amazing. We're ready to do it again. Yeah. If there's a difficulty in it, if I'm always trying to please myself when I do my work, I'm trying to please him tenfold more. I really wanted to honor what he had written and hold that up in its best light and make him proud of it.
Right.
So
it's kind of an emotional investment to get it right.
Yeah, I really wanted it to be good, not just for the cast and myself and everybody else who kind of came together and made it happen, but really for him too.
There are three things that I like in my comedies. One is I like to laugh.
Okay, good.
I like to have it grounded in reality.
Yeah, me too.
And I like it to connect with me emotionally.
Okay.
And so I'm just curious, kind of the genesis of just the idea of two pairs of strangers going through LA in a limo.
Right.
One night.
Right. Well, hopefully the laughs are built in.
Yeah, they definitely are.
That's a misadventure, if ever there was one.
It's not a jokey film.
No, I prefer characters that I can feel are kind of real people. And we talked a lot about that we wanted to make not a jokey film, but a film that was very dialogue heavy and that felt as you're watching it and laughing as if you were meeting real people. You're on this adventure in this limo with them.
Yeah.
And they're laughing sometimes and you're laughing sometimes. And it gets tough for them sometimes. And hopefully it gets a little bit tough for the audience too. But no, I would never call this film slapstick.
Yeah.
Hopefully humor for grown-ups.
When I was watching
Not that
it,
slapstick isn't for grown-ups.
Yeah. I mean, it works in some cases. So what I'm thinking is, to me, the story started off in just a strange place in the sense of two pairs of strangers, and they wind up in a limo together.
Right.
How do you get to a point like that?
In real life? Like, how does that happen?
Yeah. I mean, you pulled it off plausibly here. It's like, okay, I get it now.
Yeah, I mean, there was something delicious about that for me because I wanted to kind of investigate character like that, and having them meet each other allowed me to kind of go through a lot of the conversation and unearthing of what's going on with them in that kind of natural environment. When you meet somebody, you explore who you are, and so the audience gets to meet them as they meet each other. It was kind of a nice vehicle.
I also saw the movie kind of as I described it as a marital midlife crisis.
Yeah, it's
I've been married 15 years this week.
Oh,
yeah, and
congratulations!
Oh, thanks.
That's good.
And I think about my life, who I was as a person 15 years ago, and who I am today. And it seemed like a lot of your characters. I mean, that's kind of the point of the characters, is that we grow up and we become different people. Right. And at a point in our marriage, we have to kind of make choices. We're at transitional points in that.
Right. Hal and I talked a lot about how you can be successful on the surface at life. Like, these characters are doing all right if you just see them walking down the street, but that there is this expectation that a large part of what it's not an expectation, it's true. A large part of what fulfills us as human beings is that we find some kind of family and coupling, and we grow out of that. And so these 4 people have kind of stumbled into things where they're not being honest with themselves or their partners, and so they're kind of failing and floundering and kind of wounded walking. And through the course of this one night, I think, in my mind, they all decide to change it.
It's a choice you have to make that has, I guess, the split path. One very tough choice, and the other the status quo.
Right. But if you're not being honest with yourself about who you are, you're not going to find that you can be honest with somebody else about it. And that's the Achilles heel of all of these.
Then the choice is made for you.
Yeah, then the choice is made for you. Yeah.
And I also want to ask you about acting.
Okay.
I liked that everything, it was dialogue heavy, which is hard to do.
It is. And that was actually when Hal and I sat down, we were like, we want to collaborate. Right after We Want to Deal with Marriage was, we want it to be a dialogue-driven film. Yeah. And part of that is because I've been missing that in independent film. And I think part of the reason I've been missing it is because it's really hard, just in terms of just coverage, and it takes time to get dialogue right. And I was feeling like I wanted to challenge myself that way.
How did you pull that off with your cast?
Well, rehearsal and getting lucky with some talented people who are willing to try that. I mean, some of these scenes they're like 5-minute talk, just a conversation. You're in the middle of a conversation, and that was new for me. Hal writes it really well, so that helped. So you feel the full journey of the conversation within the scene. And
did it help with your husband writing it to kind of have a vision as to how the scene would play out? And or is that something you kind of saw in the editing process? I prep. So I had a vision, and then organically things happen, and something else comes, and that's a blessing, so you incorporate that. It was a little bit of both. Right. You mentioned rehearsal, because I guess a lot of times I see movies like this, and they tend to be very improv-y, and it feels improv.
Right. This feels improv, and it's really not. There are a handful of improvisational moments, and most of them are kind of like a tiny joke that gets tacked onto the end of the scene. But really, I would say 90% of it is very scripted. In fact, some days Hal couldn't be on the set because we have a 5-year-old daughter, and so someone has to be the parent. Well, somebody has to. Yeah, exactly. So you trade off, and he couldn't always come, and I would come home, and he'd say, "How did it go?" And I'd say, "It was great," and he'd say, "Did they say the words?" And they did. It was really. We stayed very true to what he wrote. Yeah. And if it feels improv, I feel like that's a credit to the actors. Yeah. So it feels natural like that.
Well, yeah, I just thought about it, but I guess it was mostly shot at night. How do you manage a child when you're out?
Right. Well, they did some traveling.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that helped. We shot at our house, and that was an amazing experience for me because she got to be there. It was very G-rated scene. It was a little girl jumping through the sprinklers.
Oh, okay.
So there was nothing that I didn't want to share with her, and it was actually my first time having her see what it is that I do, and to get to be a part of that. She stood by the monitor with me, and she called action once. Yeah. And I don't know, it was really special to get to share that with her and have her understand.
Yeah. Get a taste of what mom and dad do.
It's not that I don't hope for her to make independent films, because that's a hard road, but it was nice to have her feel what it is that we've been pushing so hard to get done. Yeah.
All right. Speaking of independent films, big studios, they don't make movies like this.
Okay. They should.
They should. But they're more concerned.
They really could. They have the money. They should.
I know, it's loose change. They could just pick up $1 off the ground.
For their craft service budget, we could make a couple of these. It was good.
So what were some of the challenges you faced once from script to day one of production?
Oh, Independent film is a challenge every single step of the way. I mean, it's all the classics. It's not new. Budget, time, securing cast, equipment, crew. We were small, so all our departments were kind of one person. Whereas if you walk onto a studio film, a department is our entire shoot.
Yeah. Did it work like, okay, we have a script that we're happy with, then we start looking to produce it, or?
Yes, yeah. I knew that I wanted to work with Drea Clark, who produced it, and she had produced a short film for me 2 years ago that actually screened at the Los Angeles Film Festival. It was an ITVS short. Do you know who they are?
No.
Okay. They're a nonprofit, and they do a wonderful thing where they invite independent filmmakers to submit science fiction film ideas.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then they work with you on the script, and it's kind of like a TV show, but each episode is done by a different independent filmmaker, and it's about the future.
Oh, wow.
So we had made this sci-fi short together.
Okay. See, that's the thing I've learned here is, I see these amazing films, but where do I go and tell my friends to see it?
Right.
Where do you know where that would be seen?
Yeah, you can go online. It's called Laura Keller NB, and it was starring Amber Benson and Martin Starr and Therese Kelly, and also so you can go check that out.
Okay, I will.
Robert Baker, who's in this movie, is in that movie too.
It's premiered. We saw it. It was
Last
great.
night.
Loved it. My feeling is, for an independent film, the work doesn't stop here.
No. I'm with this movie for years. You really to get it up is years, and then you still have to push it into the world.
So, any advice for people who have a vision for a movie and want to get it produced? And
I guess, if you look at the long road, it can be really overwhelming. So what I do is I try to think about what's right in front of me, and that's where I put my energy. And I have long-term goals, but I'm gonna live in the moment and jump the hurdles as they come, kind of. And that seems to work better than feeling the Sisyphean journey of I got to get this movie out into the world. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you. I'm speaking with Mo Perkins, director of the movie The Last Time You Had Fun.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.